All right, everybody. So this is our last video lesson that we have on the H. Jackson. This is going to be our video on the nullification crisis, kind of what was going on, um, what was the fight over, and why it's such an important deal. So the title of our notes is going to be Nullification Crisis. And this will go on your next open page. Now, one vocab word that we need to keep in mind is going to be tariff. And I know we've talked about tariffs before, and we're going to talk about them again. But this is a tax on imported goods. So we're going to have taxes that go on goods. So, for instance, if we buy something from France, then that item's going to cost more. It could be the exact same hat. Let's say it's a hat. It could be the exact same hat from America as it is from France. And what we're going to do is it's going to cost us more to buy the one from France than it will in America because of the taxes when you import things. So that's going to play a major role. Now we're going to have two different groups. So what I want you to do is about midway through, a little bit more than midway through the page, I want you to draw a line. We're going to have two separate groups that we're going to be talking about with this. We're going to have the North, which is why it's on the top of your paper, and the South. Now these two areas, as we know from just your overall knowledge, that it's going to eventually lead into the Civil War. But this is an issue that almost caused us to go into the Civil War. Now, what we're going to have in the North, they're going to be a heavily manufacturing group of states because they don't have as much land, so it's going to help them make more money by doing this, by having manufacturing. So we're going to have our nice little factory. We're going to have a couple of windows because, somebody has to see outside. And the North, they are going to favor tariffs because it helped American factories. So the North really liked the whole idea of tariffs. Now, with the North, they're going to be, like we said, manufacturing. In the South, not so much. They're going to be a lot more, when it comes to it, a lot more agriculture based. This is my cotton plant. Please don't make fun of it. The South, I'm trying to think of a good word, didn't want tariffs because it caused all items to cost more. So what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to go through and they're going to be very frustrated with the tariffs. Made American products like cotton cost more. So what we're going to have, the big issue, in is going to be this. 1828, we're going to have a high tariff get passed. In some cases, it could even double or triple the cost of products. And it angers the South. So it's going to anger the South. Now, what can the South do? This is the same time period that we're talking about these court cases like McCulloch versus Maryland and Gibbons versus Ogden. So what the South is going to try to do, southern states like South Carolina, are going to try to, they're going to attempt to nullify the law. Or cancel it. That's what nullify means. So we're going to have them trying to cancel it or nullify it. Now, when that happens, we're going to have two groups of thought happening at the same time. In the North favored the idea that the federal government I can't spell. Federal government was over the state government, which equaled states had to follow laws. While in the South, southern states thought states over federal government, and which meant they could nullify laws they deemed unconstitutional. All right, so what that means is that if they didn't like the law, like this tariff, they could go through and they could nullify it and say, that's out, we're not doing it. What's going to happen is it's going to get so close that South Carolina is going to threaten to secede from the U.S. Which means they were going to leave. This angered Jackson so much that he even threatened to bring the whole U.S. Army in there, crush South Carolina, and rule it with an iron fist himself. What ended up happening is we had this thing called a compromise tariff. Of 1833, which lowered the tariffs on southern states. And it was brought to us by Henry Clay. Remember, the guy that helped cheat Jackson out of the first election, and John C. Calhoun from South Carolina. And they gave and took a little bit, but it made it work out. So I'm sorry this ended up being a little bit longer, but it's mostly due to our writing. So make sure we have all of this on our page that I'll let you know about, and be waiting for further instructions.